Well, I decided to import a PVM from abroad, and I can tell you that, well, it wasn't easy and I still haven't got it. Now, the thing is that I already ordered quite a few things and more things are on the way. But the thing that people worry about the most when importing a TV or a monitor is that it might just break. Luckily for me, I found somebody who understands things, actually is also a technician. And I talked to him quite a lot on Facebook before I decided to order from that person. He also told me that he will actually replace the tube, again, original of course, because this only fits, to a better one. Because the one that actually had a few issues. Now, before to talk about the few important things, one of the things that are the most important ones, and I actually didn't ask for it, nor I actually knew that this is the thing. He told me to never buy anything from anyone if it's not goods and services via PayPal. So there is an option where you can actually have friends and family payments, but the thing is that many scammers actually try to get you to actually use it because there's no buyer protection. So this is from the PayPal transaction. Just kind of cut these things and you can see goods and services get a full refund if an eligible item gets lost or damaged. Seller pays a small fee for that. I think this is some kind of insurance. So these are the things that I actually worry the most. If something is lost and I don't get it, or if it's indeed damaged, this is one of the most worrying thing when you actually buy a TV or a monitor abroad. Now, the best thing is that the merchant actually mentioned that. So the seller actually mentioned that. He could have not mentioned that, but he actually mentioned that. This means that you are dealing with a reliable person. He actually, by the way, when he sent me the payment, he actually wrote exactly what you're going to do. I also asked the person about how he gonna pack it up. I actually knew exactly. He told me this is not the first time he's sending, and he actually described it. I also told him, and he actually described how he's going to do that. And he told me that one going to be problem. It's not the first time that he actually does that. And of course, that's why, because he's confident, he actually offers this thing as well for buyers to, be sure that, they are in good hands. And I just couldn't rely on ordering something from eBay. I heard so many horror stories, so I just couldn't rely on that. Usually when you talk to them, they just either ignore you or you get some weird answers. This is like Facebook one-on-one. We can just chat and I can get all the answers. Now, another thing that actually I wouldn't mind paying the extra is because it's going to be, as the seller told me, it's going to be fully serviced, recapped, and calibrated. So this means replacing the capacitors. He also told me this is Japanese quality ones. I mean, it's also written on his page, because some of the capacitors are 20 or more or older and they dry out and leak fluid. So this causes geometry issues, warped image, for example, washed out colors, or even total power failure. So just imagine now you need to do it locally, for example, and the cost, and need to send it and get it back. And you need to make sure that they're actually going to use good quality replacement items. It's also going to be calibrated, so he actually has the tools to make sure. Sometimes you need external tools to make sure that the colors and everything are well calibrated, so he's going to do that as well, including if there are some geometry issues, white balance inspection, and so on. Another thing that is very important, sometimes you buy those displays and there's so much dust and even bugs inside the chassis. So he's going to do also the physical cleaning, removing basically decades of dust from the inside. And again, high voltage dust can cause short circuits. So this is very, very important. This also includes remelting old cracked solder joints and circuit board to ensure that solid electrical connections are in place. Also input testing all ports, making sure that everything works. So there are many situations when you just buy a screen, nobody does anything. It's just sell you this thing as is. And even a poorly serviced one is a kind of a ticking bomb. So all of these things together led me to be confident that it's better for me to buy from that person and not do it any other way. And trust me, I checked quite a few options. The thing is that I also searched locally and actually found somebody who kind of showed me he has several of these BVMs and PVM, Sony, Philips, and others, but they're not serviced or anything. You buy them as is, and this is why I prefer buying it from somebody who knows what they are doing. Because again, they won't come clean on anything, so that extra can give you a peace of mind, less headache in the future if something goes wrong. Who knows? Maybe the moment you get it, something will go wrong. And he also added a cable that I wanted as well on the way. Now, just so you know that, of course, moving these monitors are quite expensive for sure. There's also VAT you're going to maybe pay for everything, and maybe even tax. Depends, of course, when you're importing from and to. Now, again, I wanted to have one for comparison, testing, and getting, of course, the actual experience rather than relying on third-party sources. And even then, you can't really know for sure until you try something yourself. And if I ever want to share really my honest opinion about something, and when I'm comparing things, or at least more accurate things, I need to have one myself. Another option was to actually fly abroad and bring it there. Actually, there are once you go into, for example, Facebook Market, you're going to find there are so many TVs you can get for cheap, for even nothing, like $20, $30, even the biggest Sony Trinitron TVs. You're going to find them and it's going to be so cheap. But if you're willing to fly there and then, find a way that you can actually package it properly, of course, you need to also include that you're going to pay for the flight. You can get some really amazing TVs if you're able to know what you're doing and ship it properly, or there's a service there in the country that know what they're doing when it comes to shipping electronics. So you might find something really good and relatively for cheap because you're not actually paying a high price for it compared to just buying it on eBay, which is insanely expensive. So basically that's it. I'm happy. It doesn't mean that things can't go wrong, but I know that to some degree I'm covered. If I don't get the product, if it comes damaged or something, if it doesn't really fit what I wanted to, I can get a refund. I didn't know that something like that exists. This is just so important. Luckily for me, I'm talking with an honest seller that knows the business and care about his customers. And that's it. More updates coming. Thanks for watching.